On average, it costs around $3,500 to start an Amazon FBA business. But it can cost anywhere from $0 all the way up to $20,000. And for me, it cost around $28,000 to start my Amazon FBA business. And I'm going to be revealing each of those individual costs that cost me when I launched my Amazon business and how you can do it for cheaper. But pay attention, because starting an Amazon FBA business can be pretty expensive. The first thing you're going to do is use some type of research tool like Helium 10, which will probably cost around $40. This will help you find a product that you can actually sell on Amazon. Then you'll need somebody to design your logo and package design for your product, which on average costs around $200. You also need to buy UPC codes, which cost $30 for each UPC code. Now, before you get your product, you'll need a sample, which on average costs about $100 per sample. Then you'll have your first production run, which can cost anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000. Shipping your product will also be around $500. Photos for your Amazon listing cost $50. You'll also need to register your business, which costs around $200 for an LLC or a DBA. And finally, setting up your Amazon account will cost $39.99 a month. I'm going to give you some real life examples, and we're going to go over all of the details in 30 seconds. But if you're new to the channel, my name is Harag. Travis reached out to me to share my story and how much it cost to start my Amazon business. My family has owned a famous coffee shop for 3 generations. I've always had a strong drive for success and business. So when it came time for my father to retire, I wanted to leave behind a strong legacy for him. I knew I could sell our famous coffee beans online by selling on Amazon using FBA. And it ended up costing me around $28,000 from going retail to Amazon. Now that sounds like a lot, but since I've launched, we've made around $160,000. And now the family legacy can continue. Now make sure to smash that like button, because I'm going to share all of my costs that it took to start my Amazon business, as well as some huge tips on how you can save money when you start your own Amazon business. There's another Amazon seller called Mina that only cost $1,500 to get started on Amazon. Now he's doing over $100,000 in sales per month. Now there's Steven, who spent $1,800 to get started on Amazon. And now he's quit his job and pays all of his bills with his Amazon business. Carlos spent $5,000 to start her tea company, and now she's making a full-time income. And AJ, who is part of an Amazon FBA program, he was actually able to start his business with $0. He's done over $90,000 in sales just on Indiegogo. But let's break down how much it's actually going to cost to start your own Amazon business. The first cost to think about is how much is it going to cost to design your product. Now, I'm going to be talking about some mandatory fees to start your Amazon business, as well as some optional fees. For example, a lot of people think you have to pay for these product research tools, but that's not true. I'm going to give you some techniques on how to do some product research for free later in this video. The first fee is the design of your product. And what I mean by that are the fees for things like your logo, package design, fonts, colors, and other things like that. I would recommend spending at least $200 for the design of your product. Now, if you want to really create a solid brand, you're going to want to spend more than this. It cost me $15,000 to design my logo and my packaging. I used a professional design agency, and here's a secret. There's a lot of boring work to do before all of the fun work starts. You need to know your story. It doesn't matter what you're selling. You have to have a really compelling story to connect with the customer. So I spent 3 months thinking about what sets us apart. What's our mission statement? And the focus was getting the designer to get into my brain and think about what's unique about us and what's the compelling story that we want to tell the customer. I didn't pick colors. I didn't pick fonts. I just relied on the designer to really understand my story and then take it from there. Then, because of all of that hard work, first iteration was like 90% done. Now, to get your design, you can use services like Fiverr, Upwork, and 99 Designs. Now, the way that 99 Design works is, you submit your package and your concept, and then you get a bunch of referrals from folks that want to design your package, your product, logo. And after having a look at what is submitted, you end up picking your designer. You also need to pay for UPC barcodes, which is actually a requirement when you're trying to sell on Amazon. The proper way to get these barcodes is to go to gs1.org. And it cost me $100 to get my UPC codes. UPC stands for Universal Product Code. It's that little white square that has all those lines that's scanned when you go to a register. Now, if you just need one UPC, you can go to gs1.org and spend $30. The next thing you're going to want to do is get a sample of your product. Before you spend thousands and thousands of dollars, you want to make sure you have a sample in your hands that looks great, feel comfortable with, and then do a production run. A lot of times manufacturers will actually give you the sample for free. You just have to pay for the shipping. So if your manufacturer is in China, shipping is going to cost you around $40 for that free sample. Now, if you're looking for a manufacturer, there's an expert named Travis, and he's got a fantastic video. We'll put the link below this video, and he walks you through how to find one. He'll show you step by step on how to find a manufacturer, and then once you find one, you can go ahead and request that sample that we discussed. Now, if you like the sample, then you can move on to your production, which is fantastic. But your question may be, well, how many do I want to order when it's my first production run? For your first production run, I recommend buying around 300 units. Think about it in terms of how long you think this production run will last. Typically, you want to think about 3 or 6 months worth. For my first production run, I spent $8,000 on our coffee bags. Now, the reason why I did that was when I was doing my research, I noticed that a lot of the coffee sellers were selling the coffee bags in 3/4 of a pound or 12 ounces. Well, in our retail store, all of our bags are sold in 16 ounces or 1 pound. So I had to come up with a design that was a much smaller size, 12 ounces, so that we could compete with all of the other Amazon sellers. Now, for the raw coffee beans, we've been working with a local importer for the past 50 years, so that wasn't an issue for us. Our supplier is located in Oakland, California, and they import coffee from all over the world, from Central and South America, Africa, and even places like Jamaica and Indonesia. They provide us the raw coffee, which we roast in-house, and we make single origin roasts, all sorts of different light or dark roasts. And the most important thing is that our importer and us, we have a great relationship with each other. They know exactly what type of coffee we're looking for, and it helps smooth out the logistics of getting raw coffee imported to our store. If you're looking for a manufacturer, there's a few ways to look for them. I'm going to break it down here real quick for you. There's Alibaba.com, where there's hundreds of manufacturers from Europe, Asia, and India. You can also use thomasnet.com to find exclusive manufacturers in the United States. You can always use Google, type in the product that you want, plus the word manufacturer, and it'll give you a list. The next step is paying for shipping. This is the shipping cost from your manufacturer to Amazon. Now, how much you pay for shipping depends on multiple factors. The first thing to consider is if you want to ship by air or by sea. Now, air is really fast. However, it's expensive, and sea is much, much cheaper, but it takes a lot longer to arrive. The price also depends on how physically big your product is, as well as how much it weighs. My cost was around $1,600 to ship around 7 boxes to the Amazon FBA warehouse. We ordered coffee bags from the manufacturer and had them directly shipped to our store. We get the raw beans from our importer, as I mentioned before. We then roast the coffee, we pack it ourselves, put it into a box, and then ship that to Amazon. Next is photos. This is super important because customers can't touch your product like they would if they were in a retail store. They can only see the photo, the title, the price, and the ratings. Customers' focus is the main photo. So I don't recommend taking this photo with your phone. It's going to cost probably between $50 to $150 for a professional photographer, and I think it's well worth it. I spent $3,000 to get a professional photographer to take photos of my coffee beans and the new bags. You should also expect to pay anywhere from $100 to $500 to register your business. You can get an LLC, which stands for Limited Liability Company, or a DBA, which stands for Doing Business As. This allows you to open up a business bank account as well as a business credit card, and what that does is it shows Amazon that you're a legitimate business. Now, an LLC gives you some protection where it separates your business assets from your personal assets. Now, because our business has been around since 1965, we had all of that already taken care of. The last thing to consider is the Amazon seller account fee, and there are 2 types. Amazon has a free account, and while it's free, it will cost you 99 cents per item sold. There's also a professional account, which is $39.99 a month, and it comes with a lot of benefits. Now, in my opinion, if you plan on selling more than 40 units a month, I would go with the professional plan. We set up our Amazon store because we had a lot of customers that used to live in the area but have now since moved, and we wanted to provide them a solution where they could place orders through Amazon and still enjoy our delicious coffee. Since then, it's grown massively and it's been a huge success. Thankfully, I signed up with Amazon with the professional account, and that saves us a lot of money. Altogether, most likely it's going to cost you anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 to start your Amazon business. Now, if you don't have the money, you can start your Amazon business for free if you use services like Indiegogo or Kickstarter. Now, for me, like I mentioned, I spent $28,000, and that's a lot of money, and it was a little bit scary. But for me, I felt like it was worth the risk. And I knew that Henry's House of Coffee and the tradition of coffee roasting and the heritage of our business was going to be a big winner on Amazon. But that wasn't my final cost when I started my Amazon business. You need to be aware of some other optional costs when it comes to starting your Amazon FBA business. One of the best ways to save money is to not pay for research tools like Helium 10 or Jungle Scout. But I will say, if you're brand new to this, it's worth spending money on the research tool like Helium 10. In fact, we'll put a link in the description for a discount so you can get the whole suite of tools that Helium 10 offers. Now, there's also a deal for Jungle Scout. We'll put the link in the description below. Now, for me, if I was starting a new business, I would actually pay for Jungle Scout for about a month until I did my research. And because it's month to month, you can cancel at any time. If you're going to do that, make sure you use the discount code in the link below. Or, if you want to do this for free, we'll have a video here linked that you can watch and learn how to do research for free. When I started my Amazon FBA journey, I did spend a lot of time on research, and that was important for me. But I was in a unique situation because my business has been around for over 50 years, and that affected the way that I was doing the research. When I first started working with my dad, we had a website, but it was very basic, and essentially it was just built for those customers that used to come to our shop and had now moved away and wanted an easier way to purchase coffee from us. Now, Amazon PPC is another optional fee if you really want to crank your business. PPC stands for pay-per-click. And essentially, when someone searches for a term, your product will be listed at the top. And when a customer clicks on it, you'll be charged a fee. For me, I was spending a lot of money on PPC because I wanted other customers to be aware of our brand. And the first few years, it was eating up a lot of my profits. Last year, we were ranking on Amazon organically. And so I made a decision to stop the PPC ads and focus more on my profits, and noticed that there was a dramatic increase in the profit that I was making because I wasn't being charged for those fees. Now, another optional fee, but I think one of the most important aspects when you're trying to start a business on Amazon is education. You should look into a mentor that is an expert in an FBA Amazon course. And typically this will cost you around $1,000. Now, if somebody is charging you more than $1,000, you want to be a little bit cautious. Do your homework, research them, get a lot of bids. You don't want to get scammed, and make sure that it should be around $1,000. Do your homework, like I said, and be wary if it's more than that. For example, Travis Barziani has made over 7 figures selling on Amazon, and you can use his courses to learn how to sell better on Amazon. Another thing to keep in mind is you're going to make less mistakes if you have this mentor, and that in itself adds to your bottom line. $1,000 investment in a mentor can actually save you tens of thousands of dollars and save you on stress as well. You can bypass spending hours trying to look through old, outdated YouTube videos, scrolling the web, if you use an expert like Travis. If you're considering opening up an Amazon business and you want to reach out to a mentor, consider using the Passion Product Formula course created by Travis. And there's a link down below if you want to join. I love e-commerce, and I built this passive income website to grow our business. And I know you can be a success if you want to do it too. You don't need to own a 3rd generation coffee roasting company like I do. You can start your own business and start getting some passive income yourself. It cost me $28,000 to get my business, Henry's House of Coffee, started on Amazon. In Travis's course, you'll get hundreds of step-by-step tutorials. You'll get some exclusive Q&As with him, and you'll get one-on-one coaching to help you start your own Amazon business as cost-effective as possible and launch a successful product on Amazon. There's a link in the description below. Now, if you're not ready for that, Travis does offer a 10-hour free course. The link to the video is here.